That
was the game.
That was a single round of Patriot that took us. Well, it took me an hour to teach the game, and then it took us 2 hours to play one round of it.
There was a really good one turn that I had.
Yeah. Yo, remember when you played that Science Influence? That was sick.
Remember when it got?
I waited so long to play that.
Remember when it got to your turn and we're like, nothing you do matters besides doing this twice, so you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I remember that because I did that too.
So,
Shinji.
I do want to give thoughts on this game.
Yeah.
But I want to let the rest of the table chime in on their thoughts first. So, what do you guys think of Patriot based on a single round?
I gotta say, I enjoyed this. It felt. I mean, we were calling it Secret Hitler-like, but it feels a lot more like Dead of Winter in just
really does, yeah.
how difficult, how quickly everything slips away so quickly if you're not trying to like even if you're trying really hard, like it just things can just compound so quickly. This game so bad.
This game feels like it would be hard without anyone trying to kill the president.
I think I would prefer if we didn't. If
it were just a straight up co-op game, this game would be hard.
Because it's already hard enough. I think that would be.
It feels like two games to me in that way. Like, I don't feel like the social deduction aspect needs to be a part of it at all. And I feel like it adds. If I had gotten your card, like, obviously, you would have started strategizing at the beginning, like, what am I going to do or whatever. Trying to keep that farce going the entirety of the game would have been very difficult just because there are so many things that, like, actions that are dictated by what is on the board, like where we ended up, where you're like, I'm not gonna kill any rioters. I'm telling everybody who I am.
Right.
It seems like there's too many kiss curse
but like
mechanics.
extra now.
Where it's like everything, like anything that would give us any sort of benefit to do anything else. Like first, like we need to increase our civil unrest, and like by the very first turn, we were already at 4. Like
there's risk management
like we
involved
already,
with everything.
Like, that much closer.
I think we started the game handicapping ourselves because you did a thing that was going to gain civil unrest, and then you tried to mitigate that before we really had the means to mitigate it, and it bit you. Yeah, and that just put us
snowball.
That just put that one little mistake.
We don't
just
have any
put us
money to boost our
so
rolls,
far
so we can't
behind.
do the rolls, so now we have a riot.
You added a lot of civil unrest, and then Kyle spent his turn trying to undo it, and then on my turn, I got rid of some of it, but then immediately added it. 2 back, just doing science.
And added enough to trigger our first riot, and then we were just like, what now? The riot cards, I gotta look at these. Because, my God, both of these were so painful.
See, and that's why I feel like you don't need
There's another, add 3 to each location, add 3 to each location. Add 4 to the lab and 2 to the war room. That's a little less awful. Add 2 to each location. Add 4 to the war room and 2 to the surveillance center.
Is there none with 1?
4 to the treasury, 2 to the research lab, and
it's alright if it was just
4 to the surveillance center and 2 to the treasury. So
it's less.
We got 2 out of the 3 absolute worst riot cards possible.
That's crazy.
I think it's just like really counting on the D4 rolling the same number over and over again.
I think it is too.
Like really, very much so.
God, I feel like there's way too many rioters on the board when a riot happens.
Well,
there are less with 4 or less players, but still.
And then we get streaks like Dustin's where he drew 3 bad science cards back to back. And like, hey, look, we have fun. Hey, there it goes.
Yep.
It's gone.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because I was like, ooh, science. I got us 4 coins. Oh, and there they go.
I just get to draw one?
Draw 2.
I said because he doesn't
If they're both good, you get to pick one. If any of them are bad, they immediately get resolved.
What if they're both bad?
They immediately get resolved. Scientific discovery holder may choose to either discard 8 coins from the treasury or increase the threat by 1.
Threat can go up by 1.
I kind of think threat,
Well, oh dear.
Threat's low enough at the moment that I think that's the better choice.
There are 4.
All right.
Well, heck.
Maybe there are 4 more rounds.
There's the potential.
This is actually a survival game. This is like, can you get
what else
through
you got?
round?
Obviously,
All right. All players except the scientific discovery holder roll a d8. The scientific discovery holder and lowest roller combine influence cards and redistribute them evenly.
Oh, that's... All right.
To each other? Or to the other people?
No, to themselves.
Evenly.
They basically...
Weird. Dustin.
Yes.
Because both of the science scientific discovery cards you drew were bad, you have the option to keep drawing and resolving bad science cards until you get a good one.
Roll a d4 and remove coins from the treasury equal to the number indicated on the die. One.
I do feel kind of bad for Dustin. Like, once it got to your turn, you could only do one thing, even if there's other stuff that you want to do.
It just
which is a little sad because it's.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I had nothing else I could do with my turn.
I think that this game. Obviously, this was our first play. We knew that the first round was going to be rough.
Yeah.
I think we all we've grasped the concept of it at this point. If we were to play it again, I think things might feel a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
Because we would know what we're doing.
A
little better.
I think playing it again, I would look a lot more at the strengths and weaknesses
on the
when
you're picking your character.
Characters.
Yeah, of course.
I think that, and I think with everything ahead of time, I would act on the defense from the get-go.
Yeah.
To just kind of be like, I'm just going to start putting troops in different places.
It almost feels like throwing down a bunch of troops early.
First round should be more like maintaining, let's gather influence, let's like get a couple troops just in case things go bad, and then that first mechanic that like wants to punish you is not as bad because you
Because with 3 of those, like, 9 riot cards?
Yeah.
You're rolling the die to add a rioter 12 times.
Yeah.
And
that is so many rioters.
I don't know how you could have this go for 5 rounds.
I don't either.
With the way that it went for just 1 round.
It took us forever. Now, granted, it will go a little faster.
Well, I mean,
on a subsequent
just like
play.
how, like this whole thing.
Yeah.
How quickly the game
There are so many spaces we never got to use. There are so many actions we never got to try.
When we had 3 beacons ready to go,
I
didn't get a chance to launch it.
This
It's like the world
is
is on
so
fire.
much of the game, and like a lot of the briefs and a lot of the cards, like launch a free beacon, but we never got to use any of them.
I feel
because we were on.
Like, I almost feel like the beacon thing.
defensive the whole time.
I almost feel like the beacon thing could have just been ignored. Like, it feels like something added that's adding something that's not necessary.
We could have gotten also, like, none of these beacons were great because we had, like, the first one I saw is 1 AP deploy 2 troops, and that's without civil unrest.
God, that's much better.
Great
That's
beacon.
amazing.
Yeah, there's other ones in here, I imagine, too, that would be much...
So we just pulled all the bad cards.
Which means that
they seemed like they were good. Like, they seemed like they were useful, just not necessarily useful
like this one.
Yeah, we didn't know that there were better options.
We didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
We didn't know
what else was in the deck.
Different cards.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think you could have stopped what happened.
We would have made it to a second round for sure.
Yeah, the problem was... We had a second riot that you triggered on purpose.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing: is I didn't realize these were still. I didn't.
You didn't realize they were going to trigger again.
I didn't realize they were going to trigger again. So I thought we were fine, and I could just science and be okay.
We told you they were going to trigger again.
Only after I was doing this, I thought you meant like.
I was shouting it repeatedly. It just wasn't getting communicated.
I thought you meant like we have them out. They're going to just be here. But then the 3rd level, I was like, I didn't.
The chances of you getting all of them off the board anyway, though, were pretty low.
Yeah.
See, but
there were 4 left on the board at the start of your turn. There was no way we were going to clear that riot. So we were going to end up with just about as many rioters as there were at the end of your turn anyway.
I think this game is made for not me. It's too complex for me to grasp everything.
And I wanted to comment on the complexity of this game because
it's too complex.
I think the Dead of Winter comparison is probably pretty solid there, and I've played Dead of Winter exactly once. I was the only sober person at the table, and it was our first time playing. All of our first time playing the game. It did not go well.
I played in a heartbeat over this, though.
I have been saying since getting more into the hobby of board games, like, maybe I would try that again. At the time, I was like, that is a terrible game. I never want to touch that. This does feel a lot like a Dead of Winter, but it feels like it is very wrapped up in the identity of a social deduction game. Even though mechanically, it's that feels like a sidebar.
It doesn't feel like a social deduction game at all.
Like,
even if you have someone
inside that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to play around.
Even if you're trying to have a couple people kill the president, I still feel like no one's bothered. You're not trying to suss people out because you're trying to make sure that the threat level stays down. And these things, like, it's
there's so much to deal with on the board without even factoring in the traitor element.
Yeah.
That it's too much for a social deduction game, I think.
Or just
personally.
don't call it a social deduction.
Yeah.
I would, if they would have ripped out the social deduction, rebalanced it for just a straight co-op game, I think this would have been a great little co-op game.
I think so too.
The
Yeah.
board,
Yeah.
But the social deduction aspect, I just.
Which, I mean, you could always just not play with that aspect.
I was going to say,
That's
could
true.
you
Yeah.
play
Maybe.
without
Playing
that?
again, I would try that.
I wonder.
I think that could be.
I wonder
think
how
you're right.
much trouble the president would really end up being in without somebody actively trying to put them in trouble.
I feel like you'd have to have more social opinions or something.
I think there's a little bit. There would need to be just a couple of mechanical tweaks made to it.
Well-
there is actually there's a 1-player and a 2-player version of this game that are just a completely different rule book that I haven't even looked at.
That sounds like it's just a straight co-op game.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's like a campaign that comes with the box. I honestly think
That's a lot of
that
things.
whole
It also
This
concept,
sounds like a campaign.
That's
that
a lot of
whole
things that-
concept sounds like a better version
For
of this
sure.
game
I would definitely
than
try
what
that
we
over
played.
this.
Yeah, it's just
It's
there's
trying
just
to do too much.
There's
Yeah.
too many moving pieces
Yeah,
for a
it's
social
too
deduction
much.
game.
Okay, so roll this dice.
Okay. What am I rolling?
What is that one for? Oh, for the science
Yeah.
project that you did to
2.
trigger
That's
this.
bad.
Nothing.
So nothing
Okay.
happens there unless you want to spend 2 science influence to add. You'd have to spend 4 science 6 science influence to get that up to where you get any science markers
Oh,
from
that's
it.
crazy. Oh, but I did one. So do we have 2 more unrest?
No, we did that.
Yeah, we did that. That's what triggered the riot that is happening.
Oh,
now.
okay.
So
Let's have our people come out.
Okay.
All
Come
right.
on, people.
So,
God in heaven.
Rioters, come out and play!
Let's see what's happening.
Wait, it's
okay,
3,
so
right?
threat goes up.
It's
Oh,
the
not
same
yet,
damn
not yet.
riot card.
Not yet. Don't
What are you
just
doing?
like,
Hold
stop
on,
putting
hold on,
them
hold
down.
on.
Stop putting them
One
down.
guy goes
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
Because that's where he was.
Yeah.
The rest of them we roll for.
Okay.
The new ones we roll for.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You're gonna roll this
3 times for each location. So we'll start
okay.
here.
She's not eager for war, but she's super enthusiastic about riots.
In some of like the influence
too
cards,
much.
it was like if you're playing with 3 yeah, it's this one. It was the one that like made us play another brief immediately. That was like, hey, congratulations, yourself.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, if it's just you and a buddy, take some money.
Good job, good job.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for playing our game.
And
you're
the
still here.
wording on that
Good for
card
you.
confused the hell out of me because it had a whole extra sentence about
that was
just like
very-
describing what drawing a brief card is, and I'm like,
Well,
why is
because
that there?
I think so. The assumption isn't that you draw the brief and then score it with what you score. It's like you still have to do all the other
Yeah.
But
stuff.
I think that
But you
might
don't-
have been the intention, because why else include that?
To-
But-
to-
Yeah,
just
like,
said
we're,
that.
we're already doing that.
Because the
wording
thing
was
is-
Literal
so
thing we
weird.
just said.
yeah.
I don't,
It just,
I
it,
just
it was unnecessary and it just added a layer of
it
confusion.
was really confusing. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't love this.
I did love the public opinion.
Oh, I
in the
liked
mix.
that was
of
that
the
that was
social
fair. I thought
deduction
that was
part.
cool.
That was my favorite thing.
adding in some randomness
Yes,
to it,
like,
yeah,
you
to
know-
help mask your betrayal.
That's
yeah.
always good in any social deduction when they're like, also add one of these so you
Well,
can't
Yeah.
tell.
I liked, even if, like, whether it's social deduction or not, I loved that because this is a government, that we threw in public opinion just as a democracy.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I
the
think that's
concept
also
of the
cool.
randomness
I thought
being
that was
public
really
opinion.
cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I care about finance.
Yeah.
I'm
What
just,
about war?
I'm
Have
just
we
shocked
considered
how-
war?
I'm surprised how sensitive the public is to anything. Because like if we raise taxes, I get that.
Yeah.
That's causing you some unease. Like, hey, we don't like
But
that.
everything
That makes
causes
sense.
unease.
Like, hey, we're gonna do a little bit of research. No, you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
you
just
say?
how
How dare you?
I'm getting my AK, my MAC-10, and my Molotov.
Hey
And I'm
guys,
calling 16 friends.
we just want to say we want to
Yeah.
calm everything down and like you know we're sorry about that.
The
Like,
president
long
is
answer,
investing
buddy.
money in cancer research. You know you're not.
Hell no, not my president.
Actually, never mind. It's perfectly accurate.
It is.
No,
It's
it's-
Hit the nail right on the head. Actually,
Damn it. Damn it. Made
Oh,
myself
no.
sad.
I think I do want to say, like, I want to put the asterisk on. I don't love this game the way that we, based on our first experience, that this was just our first play. Obviously, we play it again when we're familiar with all of the mechanics. It is going to be a different experience. It's probably going to be a little better. I suspect still not going to be a home run hit, at least at this table.
I like the caveat of like it is our first time.
It is our first time,
and we got a very bad combination at the beginning.
I wanted to get out of round 1 on our first try.
Right.
Well, it's like I think another thing that I think would have just eased is if things were introduced a little more slowly rather than front ending with having to have all the information as for
that could be on me trying to speed us into just playing the game.
But to your point, you have to know all of
that.
It's not like round 1.
The reason I'm putting that blame on myself is there is a whole example first round in the rule book. For you to guide you through all of the different mechanics, guide you through a first round that's just like, hey, pull out these cards just for an example as we go through this. And I think learning the game that way, probably way better than trying to go through, like, let's teach all the mechanics and then we'll just play. We probably should have done the example round first, but we were already an hour into our show.
Yeah.
So
and it's either way, it is a more like just heavy,
crunchy. It's a very crunchy game.
Yeah. And so
was
it's
it like
4.1
or something?
It's only 3.0.
3.
Oh
no way!
Well, 3 out of 5 on board game.
No, that makes sense.
I think that tracks. But there is.
I wonder if there's a kind of difference there between like the 1 and 2 player module and the 3 to 6.
That's a
player.
very good question.
Because 2 people, I'm sure it is significantly
a completely different
easier
game.
And a completely co-op.
It looks like a completely different game.
I wonder if you could kind of play with this many people, but go by the 2 people rules.
I wonder. I like I said, I haven't looked at that rule book yet.
So. I mean, you buy the board game, you can play it however you want.
Yeah, that's true. You make up your own rules.
Make your own expansion.
Hi, Wacky Tabaxi Tavern. How's it going?
Turns out every character is a dog.
See, I was thinking about that.
Would be a lot more fun than
everyone was a dog, and then these were just cats.
Too many? Here's
the cats are the ones trying to murder the dog president.
No, we're not okay with that. And I think that
secretly some of the dogs aren't actually dogs; they're wolves or something.
Here's our special variant. We're all
They're
presidents,
rabid,
and whoever is the last to get assassinated.
I will say, I really like these minis.
Yeah, these are good minis.
Are great.
Really
great minis.
There's so much detail on them.
I wish that, like, the fact that there's minis for the rioters and the troops, but not for the player characters is a little weird.
Yeah,
I feel like you don't need the player character things anyway. I don't think they added.
They don't really serve a purpose.
Yeah, they would have they just confused it more.
I feel like they should just stay here for the turn tracker.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we ended up moving them for rioters more than anything anyway. You didn't.
No, I didn't.
The flavor on everything is really cool.
There's a whole ton of flavor text that I haven't even had a chance to look at.
I love the world
character of the game.
They have built an interesting world.
I like
that
world.
There's like
I feel like the immersion of it.
Yeah,
for the genetically engineered dog. Like,
wow,
there's a lot going on there.
The text. The font size on these cards
it's really small.
is outrageously small.
That's pretty brutal if you don't have supervision.
The fact that this is the player reference card is a little crazy to me. I said this, I think, during the teach. There's a huge section of this reference card, and there's 6 copies of this reference.
Yeah, that's 2/3 of that card.
So,
is just
nothing on here could be
rules.
fixed by just a slight lean over the table.
2/3 of this is just on the board, and it's not a summary of what's on the board. It's just a smaller
and the reason
version.
it's cluttered is because we have our player characters just out there.
Right. So why do we need all of this on a reference sheet?
No.
This feels ridiculous.
Half of the back is an example
is,
turn.
Is there not
It is really small.
is there not a way to summarize this a little better and a little cleaner to your eye, and just truncate this reference card down to like this size?
I love the flavor of the game, like all the characters.
I do too. Yeah, I love the universe. I love the idea of this being just a straight up co-op game. Rework the mechanics just a little bit, or maybe just check out that campaign mode for the 1 or 2 player version,
Right, see if we
and
can
adapt it for 3 to 6, and just play straight up campaign mode. I think that would be. I think that would be a better game, honestly, than the social deduction version of this game. Is a little rough.
I think it's just weird to call it social deduction because it's
Yeah.
Again, because it felt like such a small...
Yeah, that's not the game we played.
Like
at very few points are you ever trying to suss out anyone's role.
Yeah, because you're too busy just trying to manage all of the fires that are...
Which is how Dead of Winter is. It's like
it's absolutely how Dead of Winter
I don't have time to figure out if someone's trying to kill us all in the space because there's 17 zombies tearing through us.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hope you're not gonna stab me in the back right now. That is all I can do. That's the only thing I can do.
Which is kind of where we were at
zombies?
when we got to the last turn of the round. Yeah, Dead of Winter is a zombie game.
That sounds so fun.
But that's where we were at when we got to the last turn of the first round, and Diva happened to be one of our traders.
Yeah.
And she saw an opportunity, and she took it. And it worked out for her really well.
So I wonder in subsequent playthroughs, if you played this game 50 times, no one is playing this game 50 times. If you played this game 50 times, how many times it would get through 5 rounds?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's too many. Like I can't imagine a version of this game that takes.
Well,
I mean, like,
especially
it
with
takes that long.
6 people.
Yeah, that probably changes it
that
too.
makes it
Because that was hard. Because like the riot started after I went, so I couldn't do anything to stop it, and it never made it back to me.
Right.
I think it would be. I have 2 thoughts. One is I think it could be nice if each round everyone grabbed. Like, you could get 2 cards.
Like every turn?
Like, yeah, every turn. Even if it's not your turn, just like every turn, you grab 2. If there's, like, and you just grab 2 or whatever, and that could help so you could feel more of a participant when there are briefs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where nobody could do anything because they just didn't have the cards.
I think part of that was the first play, Growing Pains, where that first brief came up, and it was a bidding brief. It wasn't even something where we needed to spend brief cards, and everybody spent all of their influence cards, and then we were screwed from that point forward because nobody had anything.
Well, we didn't want to loot. Yeah.
So
I didn't want to be last.
My other thought.
That's a very primal. Like that's a very real.
My other thought was. I wonder if, like, if I hadn't been the killer, if the game would have been more enjoyable for everyone because I wouldn't have done that.
At the end,
I mean, it would have been. We would have lasted a little longer, probably.
But we were already so far.
I
we
don't
were
think the
already
end result
playing
would
from
have been-
behind.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I wasn't enjoying the game like
Honestly,
at that point, like even before that.
I think most of us are kind of grateful that the game ended when it did.
Okay.
Because it was going pretty rough at that point.
There was no light at the end of the tunnel.
But I think the components are pretty solid. The text is just really small and hard to read on a lot of it. Yeah. Anyway, I think we've beaten this horse to death.
And it beat us to death.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, thanks for hanging out. If you want to spend more time with us, do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, head on over to twitch.tv/BNB Tabletop and give us a follow there. We play board games live every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a show we call The Board and Barrel. And we like to keep things interactive. You guys can influence what happens throughout the course of a game with our Buff and Nerf house rules. You can also make predictions on how things are going to pan out, play virtual bingo for a chance to win a free board game of your own, and heckle us and stuff from the chat. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you Sunday night.